What is good, rookies? Welcome to another video, and today we're going through our opening round watch list. I'm not doing it via different teams and who we should watch from teams. I've just got a list of the players that I personally am looking at to help make some final decisions. Now, not all teams are playing in the opening round, as we know, but it gives us an opportunity to have a bit of a closer look at some players that are on the fence, that are almost in our team, or pretty much deciding our structure. So, with that said, give it a like and subscribe. Give us a follow on Twitter/X. And let's get into it. So I've got a little list here. Now, we're just going to go through here just so we get a bit of a more indicator, and then we'll go through the notes for those players. So we're going to look at Sicily first. What are we looking for when it comes to Sicily? So Sicily, for me personally, when I'm looking at him as a pick, considering the buy, I want to see more of the role because there has been multiple conversations about him moving forward when needed. We saw it happen in the practice match in the Amy series. I personally get a bit push off the pick when I see that forward time. Now, when he's in that back role and he's sitting a defense, is that floating defender that we love because that is the fruitful Supercoach role that we know. However, if the game is close or if the game is on the line, we've seen it in the Amy series match, they will throw him forward. Now, he can still generate Supercoach points from that, by all means. And he's the type of player that can still do that. However, at 532, I think we have potential better picks that might be more of a designated kicker. I'm thinking close to Naz, who was also on this list, or should be on the list. But we can't watch. But Naz is someone on that list close to that price who is a designated kicker, whereas Sicily isn't that. But again, this is the consideration with Sis and the Sick Dog, is that he can get those points, and he does have that role in some way or form. The forward part of that is a bit concerning for me. So that's what we're going to be watching with the Hawks. We're going to jump to Roberts. Roberts is on the fringe of breaking into my team. What are we looking for with Roberts? I want a bit of a value check. We've seen the output in the Amy series and the practice match. We saw Florent be a bit better in that first practice match. And then we had Blakey rest the second half in the Amy series game. And then Roberts just went nuts. With the current structure of the team, now that Goulden is out as well, and no Mills, I want to watch and see what happens with Roberts. Because if I feel like he passed an eye test where I feel like he has the role and can score 100 plus, maybe 105, which is being a stretch, then he's definitely value at 434. Definitely value, and I'll lock him in. Will I lock him in over Perryman? Don't know. I still think Perryman is just a lot of value to be had at that price. But that's Roberts. Perryman, man that we just spoke of. What are we looking for when it comes to Perryman? Again, we just kind of want a bit of that confirmation bias on the role, because we will get to see a bit more of a solid game structure in regards to, is it purely a defensive mid role? Is he going to help Dacos with the tag? What is his role going to be? Loves his tackles. That's his main scoring output. Seems to be a very solid CBA role. Again, I'm not looking for too much here, just confirmation bias for Perryman. With all this considering that round 3 buy as well, if you're trying to get Roberts in. That's what I'm looking for with Perryman. O'Sullivan is a little bit different, and the rookies, you're looking for different things. So for Sullivan, I don't know if he's best 22. We saw him get rested because he did partake in a VFL game before the Amy series match. I want to see opening round to see if he's named. If he's named on field, if he's named on interchange, whatever it might be. Because we are still struggling for defensive rookies. And unfortunately, I don't feel like Bo Allen's going to be a pick. Just a rookie. Came in, did his best, did what he could. Yeah, scored a -12, but in the real world, who cares? All he is for us is just not a pick. Literally all there is to it. So Allen's out of the question. Who are you looking at? League's putting his hand up, and that's also another player that we're going to look at as well. But still keeping an eye on O'Sullivan just to see if there's a potential pick there. Who else we got? Man himself, James Leake. Very much the same. We want to look at time on ground. We want to look at role. He was doing CBA role, but there's no Tom Green. Is he best 22? Is he a sub risk? These are all the things we got to start considering. If he is named sub or if Stone is named sub, all those sort of things. So when it comes to these rookies playing, you're looking for that last bit of confirmation on where they sit for job security, for role, for sub risk, mainly. Scoring output is probably like the last thing on that because the scoring will come if the role is there. James, I think, had like 60 odd or close to 70. Again, for a rookie at that price, which the price is 119, it's still going to make you cash. Now, I'm going to mention bias and pattern as well in this list. Very, very similar concerns / like what we're watching in regards to, are they best 22? Are they a sub risk? Do they debut? What's the go? I think bias is ahead. Potentially, pattern still looks good. Pattern would be more flexible for us just because of that DPP, but we'll see what happens. And then we've got Pryor. Now, I don't have Reed on this list because I think Reed is a lock. And I think other players that I haven't mentioned on this list are pretty much a lock or, a safe pick to put in your team. Like a Kako, I would probably consider a safe pick. Just understanding, hey, he's a small forward. Going to have his explosive games, don't get me wrong, but he's also going to have his quiet games where he doesn't kick for a game. So Pryor, a bit more of an expensive rookie, so I definitely want to watch Pryor. What's his role? The scoring potential, job security, all that fun stuff. So Pryor's on that list. And then we jump into our midfield. So that's all I'm really looking for defensive players. Just a little bits of confirmation, some confirmation bias on some players that are already in the team, and we'll go from there. I've got a few different ones regarding the midfield. So I've got 4 rookies. So we've got Allen, who again, we haven't seen too much of, but is he best 22? Is he sub risk? Just confirmation. I don't feel like he is best 22, or if he is, he's the sub. That's from what I can pick up. Not a hit on Allen at all. I think he's a great player. We've definitely seen what he can do with the ball, and he looks, very athletic. But Collingwood's a strong team. You got DeGoey coming back as well. Will he come into the mid? Will he go sit forward because he's trying to build up his match fitness? Who knows? So watching Allen on that, Ashcroft, I think most people have seen enough on Ashcroft. I just want a second look. I want a second look to see what the pecking order is and kind of go from there, essentially. Then we have Sheldrick. Again, this is more confirmation bias for myself. Sheldrick is a lock in my team for on-field points as well. I think Sheldrick is a lock. Again, now that we don't have Gordon, I want to see what that role looks like. Is he starting mid? Is he starting, on the followers? What's he doing? Is he going to be subbed? All that sort of stuff is what we're essentially looking for confirmation on. And then Nevitt is very much the same thing. I think Nevitt is still a very safe pick. I think you can confidently put him on your team. My more watchful goal with Nevitt is on-field points. I think the role's there. Maybe a sub risk. I think he's a good enough rookie to put on the bench at a minimum, if not field. So that's what we're looking for. Other people like Sardis, I think, are a lock. Just put it on your team. And then we jump into some primo / keepers and potential breakouts. So I've got dunks here. I really want to pay close attention to dunks. I think a lot of people are going to look at Neil or Zorko, which I think if you can make room for them in the buy, awesome picks. If I had to pick one to start, like Neil and Zorko are getting older, but I feel like Zorko is going to be more piggy. So I feel like if you need to start an older man, start him at the start of the season where he's going to do really well. Hold him through the bye. He's got a nice fixture. He should be fine. Same with Neil. But I think Dunks is an underrated one. I think he was a top 10 mid last season, or top 8 mid. 600, like just over the value threshold. I think we can, splash 2,000 to get Dunks in. So I'm very interested in Dunks. What's his ownership at the moment? Show me his ownership. Show me his ownership. It's not going to tell me there. But yeah, for Dunks, I'm very, very interested. So he's only 1% owned at the moment. So very, very low ownership, and I'm interested. Noah Anderson, very much the same in regards to, being a bit of a pod. So Dunks and Noah are pod picks. So when we look at Noah, what are we hoping for? And we're just hoping for more consistency. So 6%, definitely a pod. I would probably consider anything under 10% as a bit of a pod. I think the consistency factor, I'm not sure if Miller's going to play in opening rounds or round one, or I'm not really sure when Miller's due to come back. But if Noah can be more consistent, because I know a lot of people referred to him as, the roller coaster, because he was very up and down. He'd have really high peak scores and some low floor scores. But if he can get a bit more consistent, I think he's the captain now. He's a great pick at 574. So one to watch. Day is kind of already out of the team for me, but again, I want confirmation / denial bias to make sure I'm doing the right thing, because we didn't see enough in the Amy series match. Too much forward time, didn't look that great. And at close to 500, I think you can go down to like Shera or, I think there's better options out there at that price. And one of them is also the next man, which is Finn Callahan. He's just been looking really good all preseason. Looks, again, this is without Tom Green, so there could be an influence there by Tom Green to affect his scoring, but it is a potential breakout season for him. If you want to ride the risk, by all means. We look at the ownership for Finn, only 4% as well. So definitely a pod. Kind of see what happens there. In regards to the last two players, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I have been off Smith for ages, and then he had that niggle on the knee, opposite knee to where he's had his ACL and all that fun stuff. So it wasn't too concerning. The only concern here is Smith is at 62%. So you either take the risk and fade it and reap the benefits, or if you miss the pick, you're hurting pretty badly, because almost 60%, over 60% of the comp is ahead of you. That's not a good feeling. So I want to watch. I want to see what the role looks like, because the role has been mentioned to be wing and half forward and CBAs, and it's not locked in. It's a Chris Scott thing. They like being flexible with all their players. You see it with Stewart and Holmes, how they rotate off halfback and center. Let's just see what happens. Big watch for opening round, as I imagine most people would be. And then just a little bit of confirmation bias on the role for Stone. I think the scoring capability is there. He reached in the 60s, which is all we can really ask from a rookie perspective. But just want to make sure the role is there. He's not a sub-risk, all that sort of stuff. I'm not as focused on watching Stone as I am some of the other rookies, like Leak, for example, where we need defensive rookies that are going to play and generate cash. So that's my watch list. If you guys have not checked out the video where I provided this template for you to do your own watch list, by all means, I'll put a link at the end of this video to navigate to that video where you can go and view the public link to this, where you can make a copy and then fill out all the data as needed. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Love the fact that some of you guys that are watching are well-versed and well-experienced in Supercoach. I appreciate you guys hanging around and checking out the content. Just, give me a follow on X. Check out sub on YouTube if you haven't already. And with that said, we are so close to the footy season officially starting back up for round one, where we can finally lock in our teams, stop all this headless running around of trying to find players and rooks that are going to play and all that fun stuff. But then we have to stomach our decision. So looking forward to that starting, guys. A lot of content coming your way. I'll see you guys in the next one.